The Shark Deck.
Hello, I'm Johnny Mac with your daily comedy news. All right, the writer strike is over. When will we get late night back? One late night insider told Variety, we want to come back ASAP. I think everybody's leaning forward like they're ready to go. I'd look for them to return on October 2nd or October 9th. I think they're going to be very motivated to get their crews working again. A different source said, we've been keeping the wheels somewhat in motion, so it's sort of dusting off the studio and getting it back up again. It's not exactly a light switch, but as long as you can get everybody back in, the network just has to pull repeats and start putting new broadcast shows back on. It's just about what goes into the shows, and that's the part you need a little lead time for, is to figure out exactly what you're coming back and doing. According to insiders, some late-night producers were already emailing staff about coming to work as soon as today. All right, we'll see what happens with that. The actors still on strike. An interesting sidebar to this, in Puck News, they claimed that Greg Daniels is looking to reboot The Office. This related to the end of the writer strike. They wrote, quote, Greg Daniels is set to do a reboot of The Office, for instance. It is totally unclear. I looked at a half a dozen articles. Nobody knows what a reboot of The Office means. Does it mean it's a completely different office and you just run the Office format with a, crazy boss and a flirty couple and all that? You know how The Office works. You've seen this show. You've heard of it. Yes. Is it that? Are we going back to Dunder Mifflin? I'll talk about that in a second. Is it a total reboot of The Office where, somebody else plays Michael Scott and we start over? I think that's a terrible idea. As for an Office continuation, I don't know. So what do you do? Is Carell coming back? And even if Steve Carell said, yeah, I'll totally do it. Well, how does that work? Michael's decided to move back, get his old job, and so Dwight gets demoted. Is John Krasinski going to do this show? Probably not. So are Jim and Pam still together? Does Pam still work there? But, she just talks about Jim, but he's never around because he's off being a sports agent. It's not that easy to bring this show back. Sure, you can do this. There's ways to write anything into it. Michael decides to come back. Dwight gets demoted. Dwight's happy to be demoted. Jim's just not around. You could make it work. I'm sure a lot of the secondary and tertiary characters would be happy to come back. You could have some new people. I don't know. But the other thing is, I'll watch. You'll watch. So who knows? We'll keep an eye on that one. Pauly Shore would like to play Richard Simmons in a biopic. Pauly Shore went on social media and said, I've noticed all the reactions to me playing Richard Simmons in a new biopic. I heard he's living deep in Big Bear. We've been playing phone tag. Yes, he still has a phone. I'm trying to make it happen for you guys. Be optimistic. In the meantime, hit up Hulu, Amazon, Disney, HBO, and all the big producers. I definitely can morph into the guy. I'll see you at the Academy Awards 2025. I'm not sure Pauly Shore as Richard Simmons will wind up on Disney, but we'll see. From the Daily Mail, they covered Russell Brand and wrote in a rambling 3-minute clip that was posted to Instagram, YouTube, and Twitter. Russell Brand thanked his fans for their support and for questioning reports that had been made. Russell went on to accuse the British government of demanding that big tech censor his online content. And Russell took a swipe at the BBC for its Trust News initiative that tackles fake news. I agree, it was a rambling clip. Let's take a quick listen.
Hello there, you awakening wonders. Obviously, it's been an extraordinary and distressing week, and I thank you very much for your support and for questioning the information that you've been presented with. By now, you're probably aware that the British government have asked big tech platforms to censor our online content, and that some online platforms have complied with that.
YouTube CEO Neil Mohan has defended the decision to strip Russell Brand's YouTube channel of ads. Mohan said if creators have off-platform behavior or there's off-platform news that could be damaging to the broader creator ecosystem, you can be suspended from our monetization program. Trevor Noah played New Delhi's JLN Stadium, and the Indian Express was there to cover it. Let's see what Trevor's doing on his Indian tour. Trevor talked about visiting the Taj Mahal on his first day, but the audience enjoyed Trevor's jokes about the Delhi traffic, especially the tuk-tuk vehicles on the road, who, according to Trevor, were the real rulers of Delhi roads. Every time Trevor said a Hindi word, the amused spectators cheered for him. The rest of his set was about the weather in New Delhi, Indian immigration, and international politics. Trevor was both shocked and amused to know that New Delhi has a wedding season and how dates are set keeping the star alignment and weather in mind. He also said he's considering an arranged marriage for himself. Jokes about China got a favorable response. He asked the audience if India was happy about British Prime Minister Rishi Sunak's appointment. He got a loud yes. Trevor said, do you know how angry some people were in the UK? I was like, this is the best day ever. Talk about flipping the script. Trevor's set was almost 2 hours long. Pretty impressive there. Gary Gulman doing a lot of press for his book, Vulture asked Gary if he was worried about his mom suing him. Gary said, yeah, I felt bad about certain things. There are certain people in my life who I changed their names if I said bad things, but that was because a lawyer would ask. At one point she said, now your Uncle Norman, the burglar, is he still alive? And I said, no. And she said, okay, good. Because there are certain people who they don't want to sue. But then the lawyer said, do you think there's any way your mother would sue you? And I thought, I hope not. Also, she's old enough where I feel we could delay the lawsuit for a while and wait her out. Variety asked Sam J if there was anything Sam was afraid to talk about in the new special. Sam said, I'm a little bit past it because people are always going to have something to say. That's a fact. In this special, I made a greater effort to show my work, to really walk you through the thought process and to leave less holes in the joke. I just tried to make sure the jokes were whole. They asked Sam about covering such topics, and Sam said it's because what my favorite comedians did. Richard Pryor, Chris Rock, Wanda Sykes, George Carlin. I don't think all comedy has to have some political comment to it. Some stuff is just fun and silly, and that's awesome too. Salute Me or Shoot Me is on Max, HBO Max. Stop calling it Max. Go back to HBO Max. Salute Me or Shoot Me is on Max now. Haven't seen much buzz on it. I forgot it was coming out, and I host this thing every day, but it was the weekend and stuff. I'm not sure Saturday night is the best night for releasing special. This used to be 40 years ago, but times change. Congratulations to Dane Cook. He has married Kelsey Taylor. They got married over the weekend in Hawaii. Taylor posted on Instagram, first day as Mr. and Mrs. Cook. Couldn't be more over the moon. Dane himself shared an image his best man took of Dane 30 minutes before the wedding. Dane wrote, last night was one for the ages. I made more memories in one night than I have in a full year. The wedding even had a hashtag #KissTheCook. Adult Swim put out a trailer for Season 7 of Rick and Morty, and we get to hear the new voices of Rick and of Morty. The network is keeping the names of the new voice actors confidential until the show's season premiere. You may recall both Rick and Morty used to be voiced by Justin Roiland. He's got some concerns he's got to take care of, and they kicked him off the show. An insider said, we want the show to speak for itself. We believe in the strength of the season and our new voices, and we want to preserve the viewing experience for fans. I pulled 2 short clips. In the first one, the first voice you'll hear is Jerry, who's talking to Rick. In the second clip, it is new Morty and new Rick. I'll play them, and I'll tell you what I think.
I was wondering if you could help me out with a bit of a rake situation.
A rake situation?
What do you say, Rick? To fly through space? Come upon something? Maybe I have a moral objection?
Rick and Morty, we're back, baby!
Not bad. The Rick is better than the Morty. The Rick is missing a little bit of the angst, a little bit of the gravel. And the Morty's okay, but again, this could have been far worse. Remember some of the replacement Bugs Bunnies or some of the replacement Kermit the Frogs? So this is fine. Good job, Rick and Morty. Dan Harmon, one of the creators of Rick and Morty, is also the creator of Krapopolis, and Dan Feinberg, my favorite TV critic, writes for The Hollywood Reporter. And I forgot Krapopolis was coming out. Again, I host this thing every day. I'm not sure they promoted it all that well. Dan Feinberg in The Hollywood Reporter writes, Dan Harmon's brand of comedy, sometimes puerile, sometimes erudite, usually with both sensibilities engaged in a graphic on-screen wrestling match, isn't for everybody. Even the shows of his that I love most, Community and Rick and Morty and the Sarah Silverman program, the usual stuff, lose me here and there. Krapopolis, a long gestating Fox animated comedy notable for off-screen trivia. It's already been renewed through a 3rd season. It looks bland, and the stories it's telling are bland, and most oddly of all, the thematic underpinnings of the series are bland. Krapopolis is never boring, and I chuckled here and there. The weird thing to say is that Krapopolis is almost aware that it's underwhelming. The first episode includes a bit about how a joke of a roast of sorts was not laugh out loud funny, and it isn't. That show's already on Fox, in case you missed it, and I did. Let's see who's at JFL Toronto on this Tuesday. 7 o'clock, Bad Dates with Jamila Jamil. 7 o'clock, Julie Kim. 7 o'clock, Sam Morrison, Sugar Daddy. 7 o'clock, Gavin Matz. 7 o'clock, Joke Signals, hosted by Dakota Ray Hebert, a multi-comic showcase that celebrates the best of Canada's Indigenous talent. 7:30, the Humber College Showcase. 8 o'clock, Second City. I realize I keep saying SCTV, and it's not SCTV, it's the Second City. I realized I said SCTV on like 5 straight episodes. Sorry about that. It's the Second City. Paul Elliott, 8:30. The Disaster, featuring Alex Kalanko. What's this? An alt comedy showcase. Comedians do whatever they want, as long as it's not traditional stand-up or traditional improv. 8:30, Best of Absolute Comedy. This is robust for a Tuesday, man. 9 o'clock, Patty Harrison, Dulce Sloan, Graham Kay, Jesus Trejo. Those are 4 different shows. Amateur Night at 9:30. 10 o'clock, Martin Urbano. Double Threat, Rachel Manson and Clifton Cramo. 11 o'clock, Sam Morrison. 11 o'clock, Low Key Comedy Show, which is an indoor-outdoor comedy show. Born out of the pandemic's impact on live entertainment, Low Key has emerged as one of the top independent shows in the country. 2 hosts introducing 4 stand-up comics, each doing 10 minutes, followed by an improvised 5-minute interview. And then at 11:30, Midnight Madness. All right, what should we do tonight? 7 o'clock. I don't think we've seen any of these folks. Maybe we went to see Gavin Matz last night. Let's do, well, we know Sam Morrison's playing later. Let's do Julie Kim at 7. Actually, no, let me take that back. Let's do Joke Signals. That's the one with Indigenous performers. Let's go see that for something different. 8 o'clock, Paul Elia, we'll do that. 9 o'clock, have we done Jesus Trejo yet? Let's do that. 10 o'clock, Molten Urbano's the only show at 10, so we'll do that. 11 o'clock, Sam Morrison's Sugar Daddy. And believe me, after 5 comedy shows and it's approaching midnight, I'm going to want to go to bed. So that's your Tuesday night at JFL Toronto. British comedian Russell Howard is launching a podcast. His guests include the likes of John Oliver, Jimmy Carr, and Taylor Tomlinson. That's pretty good. Wonderbox will be out on October 11th. It happens to coincide with the East Coast leg of Howard's latest tour. Funny how that happens. Also, funny that Taylor Swift is dating Travis Kelce. And what do you know? The Chiefs happen to be on Sunday Night Football this week. And what do you know? Taylor's promoting a movie coming out in October and has a new version of 1989 coming out. That's weird. I guess Taylor will be at the big game in New York City on Sunday Night Football again. Wow, that's weird. Here at the network, here in the basement, we started another podcast. This one is called Taylor Swift Today. If you want to follow the latest on Taylor Swift, we're putting that one out a few times a week. Taylor Swift Today, wherever you get your podcasts. And one more for cross-promotion. Comedian Katherine Ryan shared her tale of meeting Prince Harry. You know that guy. We talk about him every day on the Palace Intrigue podcast. That podcast is just about the royal family, and I'm the writer on it. Katherine Ryan was on her own podcast, which is called Telling Everyone Everything. So there she is, and Prince Harry enters the room, appearing, quote, right over at my left shoulder. First thing out of his mouth, "Oh, you're the one that tells jokes about me." Katherine Ryan said. I was like, "Yeah, it was me. Sorry about that." Harry says, "It's okay. I like jokes." Katherine says, "Okay, well, none of them were at your expense." Harry says, "No, they weren't, so keep telling the jokes." Katherine says after that, she sank into a pool of sweaty shame. She said, "Harry was lovely meeting the other guests. His presence was so striking. Seeing him up close, Prince Harry in the flesh, he looks exactly, but taller, like the image of Prince Harry you have in your head. He's in HD, and the photos of him look like the real him." All right, so if you want to follow the Royals, Palace Intrigue, wherever you get your shows. If you want to follow Taylor Swift Today, wherever you get your shows. I might as well promote 5 Good News Stories. That's a show I host where I tell you 5 stories, all of them good news, fluff stories, kickers, as we call them in the radio industry, just quick smile stories. Do that one twice a week, new episodes Monday and Thursday. And you already know about Daily Comedy News, which, if this is your first time listening, push that follow button on your app. The rest of you, you're going to tell a friend about this. You're going to be like, "Oh, Johnny Mac, I love him. He's awesome. He drinks iced coffee, and he tells me about the latest comedy news. That guy's wonderful." Whew. That's what you're going to do. Other than that, see you here tomorrow.